Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, beautiful soul family, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights, your home for spiritually guided transformation and empowerment. I am your host, Dearjames, and together with the unseen, Spirit, Source, and Symphony, we look at the current energies, we take your questions and comments live, and we go as guided. We listen to the unseen, to that instinctive, innate soul source connection, and see what's going on in the world, see what's going on in our individual lives, and how they guide us forward. And it's a brand new month. It's May of 2023. And it's also, it's been such an action-packed time. And this is true since we've really began this journey. I guess it's true in life in general. And yet, this is this beautiful month of May. It's a 5. And this 5 month is all about action, change, and renewal. And we're going to see how and why. I'm going to bring up the main theme here in a minute. So, and as you are joining us live and everything, as we always say throughout the broadcast, put in a comment, let us know where you're joining from, and so that we know that you're there, and then we will incorporate your questions and comments live throughout the broadcast. And interestingly enough, the theme of this month and the theme of the show today is revolution. So let me just bring it up here. It's revolution, renewal through reinvention. And so I'm just bringing up this image, and you may hear, I'm in the beautiful, just magical and majestic Mount Shasta, California. If you've never been, you absolutely should put it on your bucket list. It's a quaint mountain town in just shy of the Oregon border in California. And it's just magical. The actual mountain, Mount Shasta, is part of the Cascade Mountain Range. And the energies, the meditations, the walks and everything. And so you're going to see, and the reason I'm sharing this is I am in a building that was built in 1923, and it has been repurposed. It has been brought back to its former glory. At one point on the ground floor, right in the center of town. It's literally right at the heart of the two. It's on one of the corners of the two main intersections, main streets that intersect, I should say. And in 1923, on the ground floor, there was a tailor, a bakery, and a home furnishings, 3 different stores. And above it was a hotel. And they have some beautiful vintage photographs of that era. And so you can see the town, and they have repurposed, and this R-E, we're going to talk about that, how this repurposing, and so they have brought this structure in this building back to its former glory. in a modern, contemporary, yet honoring the old. And so you may hear in the ground floor where those three shops were, they are doing the construction. They are repurposing to bring in a new coffee house, bakery, and so forth. So this plays a role. Everything's purposeful. They were supposed to not be doing construction today, and yet exactly as the universe would have it, because it's so on point, is this refurbishment, this revolution, this completing a cycle, and how we reinvent, we repurpose, we revitalize. And these are, so you're going to see a lot of this in the show today about put an RE in front of and then apply it going forward. Because this revolution, and I'm just going to bring up the image again one more time, this main theme of revolution, renewal through reinvention. And remember, we've been talking about the stories, the scripts, the labels, the masks, the identities, all of these things that we have told ourselves, and how we're to, lay them down, revolutionize our being, our perspective, our mind, our thoughts, the words we use, and really just empty out our vessels, because it is about the renewal. It is, and May is the midpoint. So May Day was just May 1st. It's Beltane, it's May Day. It's honored it's primarily Europe, and it's their equivalent of Labor Day for us in the United States. But it's also this midpoint. It was the midpoint between the spring equinox and the summer solstice. And now this rebirth, this renewal. And May is Maya. It's a Greek goddess, Maya. And of course, she's about abundance, fertility. And so you can see this theme, this big theme about the divine feminine and how we are she's back. She's here, she's back, she's prevalent, and she is imploring us to empty our vessels, to really move forward in a way that releases the old, that it honors the old, but it releases the old. Because again, each time has its season, right? Its reason, its season, its purpose, its value, its lessons, its challenges, its opportunities. And yet we're not meant to hold stagnant in any energy or any time period. And so just like where I'm staying right now at Mount Shasta, the beauty of the fact that this building has been revitalized, restored, brought back. And when you're here, and this is true of any location, it's just, you imagine, especially with the black and white photographs of the era and the town and this particular structure and streets and everything, you imagine who came before you, who stayed in the room that you're in, who visited Mount Shasta, California in this instance, who actually constructed it. And what it tells you a story, and it opens you up to see that in essence, literally, this is 1923. So it's 2023. It's 100 years. It's a century of souls, of living, of creating, of structuring, of experiencing. And the moment now, this moment of revolution, and remember, Pluto moving into Aquarius, it's not since the French and American revolutions, the Industrial Revolution, the Age of Enlightenment. And so here we come full circle again. We're coming around again to this completion of a grand period, and we're advancing. And so the unseen, and certainly the divine feminine, is saying to all of us, look at what's on offer for you. Look at what is possible. Look at what is already innate within you. Springtime, what's innate within you, the seeds germinating that have been waiting patiently to be brought out, brought forth. Because now is the time. Now is the time for this revolution. And so I'm going to put my specs on, and hello, Olivia. Hello, Colleen. Hello, Alicia. Hello, Kelly Marie. Hello, Lorna. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So let me just bring up really quickly. I'm going to tell you the definition of revolution. There's a couple here, and it says the action by a celestial body of going round in an orbit or elliptical course, the time taken by a celestial body to make a complete round in its orbit. There's also a completion of a course as of years, completion. But it's also about a sudden, radical, or complete change. And remember, I keep saying that, I'm going to try to not do that, but here's that beautiful image. If I am, let me find it. Oh, and maybe I took it out. Well, I think I took it off. It's about metamorphosis, change. That beautiful image of the iridescent butterflies. And that is the moment we're in, this sudden, radical, and complete change. It can be a fundamental change in political organization or the activity or movement designed to affect fundamental change. You get the idea. Fundamental change, advancement, moving forward, releasing the old, releasing the past, no longer being confined and bound. Remember, here it is. The devil to the lovers, from this, the way it comes to me is this patriarchal enslavement to the liberation of the divine feminine, to the restoration, the purity of our origin, our nudeness, our nakedness. The images are blurred, but that is the truth. Unshackled, unenslaved, free to be who we truly are, not who we've told ourselves we are, not who people want us to be, not who society says we should be, not who the powers that be, meaning earthly powers, man, human, fellow humans, but who our innate soul is. That's the message here. And this revolution, this wake up call to your divine nature, your divinity. And that is what here, Amaji, remember Amaji, return to the mother, freedom, manumission, freedom from enslavement, liberation, freedom from debt. This Sumerian word about the return to the mother. So we've got some action packed. Let me know how this is resonating. Are you feeling the energies of, because the way it's coming to me right now at the moment is we can literally see on the world stage, we can see the declination of the divine masculine. We can see how it's trying to cleave to its power and how it doesn't want to give up that power. And yet you can also see in these institutions, governance, countries, peoples, you can see these shifts, these transformational changes, and how it's a little bit unsteady. And yet there's just this beauty. It's springtime in the northern hemisphere. It's fall, autumn in the southern hemisphere. Two very powerful, beautiful seasons of transition, of growth, of shedding, of our hexagram today is 49, molting, this molting and revolution, change. So let me know in the comments, are you aware of the change? Are you feeling the change? Can you see the divine feminine in yourselves and others and see its prosperity, her abundance, her liberation, her freedom? Because it's going to start within. It's going to come from within and blossom out. It's just like spring and like fall, this molting and shedding, the growing. And of course we've got to, it's like the snake with the, it comes out of hibernation, but it sheds its skin. It sheds its old layers, its old identities, so as to be renewed, reborn. And so that is where this revolution, so both this cycle and this moment in time is coming. And I just want to share as well before I jump in. So I knew I had an experience in Agora, Malibu Agora area a couple of weeks ago while I was there. And And I came into a gelato shop, and there was this table of individuals, and they were working with divination cards, tarot, other oracle cards. And one of the decks was the Star Tarot. It's by Kathy McClelland. Little shout out to some kin of one of our listeners. And what was very interesting is I looked in Malibu, I looked in Ojai, I looked in Santa Barbara, in the metaphysical spiritual shops for this tarot deck. And all along I had a feeling I'm going to find it in Mount Shasta, because many things have originated here for me. Well, I did, and I found it. And here's the point. I'm just giving you a little of the backstory, and then here's why this is important. The foreword is written by Mary K. Greer. And she says, tarot originated at the dawn of the Renaissance in 15th century northern Italy. Yet there is little to indicate that the cards served a purpose other than playing games until the end of the 18th century. Both were periods of revolution, filled with exciting new discoveries in which works of the past were repurposed into signposts for the future. The Renaissance tarot utilized common cultural emblems to express a cosmological map for navigating through the spheres of existence to our heavenly reward. During the American and French revolutions, in the Age of Enlightenment, tarot became unambiguously divinatory, promising access to the wisdom of the ages while guiding one through the upheavals of the time. The Golden Dawn, founded in 1888, added its perspectives during another period rife with cultural change, the fin de siècle, Neptune-Pluto conjunction in Gemini, accompanying huge transformations in transportation, communication, and esotericism. There is this beautiful moment, and I mean, you can't make it up. I woke up here and I knew that the message from the unseen was hexagram 49, revolution, molting, revolution. I knew that I would find the Star Tarot card deck here in Mount Shasta. And then here the foreword speaks to exactly this moment, the French and American Revolution, this period of revolution, this period of enlightenment, this period of changing of the ages, and how we utilize the unseen, divination, the unseen, to guide us forward for signposts, for signs, symbols, synchronicities, for knowings in how to operate, how to evolve. And that is so powerful. So I just wanted to share that with you, because you can't make these things up if you tried. Thank you, Alicia, for placing the kathymcclelland.com link in there for the tarot deck. So let's look at these powerful energies, and at the main energies first. Let's look and see what's happening, because then we have some actual astronomy happening. So our main energies, the month of May is a 5. It's nourished while waiting, patience. And so this is important because it's to remember, as you shed, as you molt, as you repurpose, revitalize, reinvent, rethink, repropose, repurpose, revisit. And this is also very interesting because right now, again, Mercury is retrograde, right? So Mercury is always about revisiting, relooking at things with a fresh perspective, looking into things, looking at ourselves. And so this nourished while waiting, patience, it's about remembering to nourish yourselves. Me being here in Mount Shasta is a huge, huge gift. It's like this nourishment while on this journey of the unknown, of going as guided. And so, and it's a reminder to have patience with ourselves, with others, with the process, so that what eventually prevails and presents itself is the new you, is this one where the seeds that you have planted long ago, your soul planted these seeds long ago, ripe for this moment. Right, R-I-G-H-T, right for this moment, and ripe, R-I-P-E, ripe to bloom, ripe to blossom, right for this moment. 3, today is the third. It's the difficult beginning. It's persevere. We are in that moment of transition, of change. So of course it's going to be difficult in the beginning. It is that moment where you must persevere. Remember, we're sitting Pluto in Aquarius, 29 degree, that 0 degree, 29 degrees. It's right now at 0 in Aquarius. It just on the 1st, and I'll show you this in a moment. It began its stationed retrograde. It's going to slightly regress back to the 29th degree, that degree of faith, and that anaretic degree, and then it's going to fully move forward come January, I believe it's January 21st of 2024, and it'll be for the next 20 years. So here they're showing us this period of revolution, of reinvention, of renewal, of enlightenment, and how it changed our world. It changed peoples and the world and countries and industries and governments and the entire thing, because it revolutionized our existence, our interaction, our relationships, our way of life. And this, remember, they've said to us, it's like what happened in the Saturn Pisces piece, that from 1993 to 1999, it's like those experiences, but on steroids, because it's going to be about the collective. It's going to be about how we as a people change, and the change is for the greater whole, for we the people in totality. How does what I do, how does what I contribute matter for the collective good? And by a byproduct, we receive something individually, micro, macro. So we have this difficult beginnings, we persevere. It's a 7-year, all year long. So that army legions, that correct discipline, go as guided, do the right thing for the right reasons, and the rest will come. It's about doing right by yourself and then also by others. Because when we do right by ourselves, when we're true and honest with ourselves, then that same gift of purity, of transparency, of openness transcends, ripples out. And of course, that's what we want to then receive back. So we've got this correct discipline and armies, legions. We have, a plethora on the unseen, on the side of the unseen, uniting with us. There's number 8, this uniting, because the 5 and 3 become an 8. And this uniting, coming together, coming to meet. And you're going to see how that same unity and uniting is in hexagram 49. And then, of course, the overall theme, 49, revolution, molting, to transform. And it's so, I'm beaming with excitement. I will not lie to you. This has been, since I embarked, and I think I've been in 9 places in 3 months. The human gets tired, and so forth, and yet persevere, because there's a transformation occurring, and it's leading you. The unseen will lead you. Your soul source connection will lead you to a higher octave of yourself, to something you never realized is possible or allowed, or maybe you did, and yet you buried it, you put it away. You said at the moment or the time it wasn't attainable. However, Great Mother, Great Spirit, Spirit Source and Symphony, the unseen, your soul source connection is speaking to you about, they're like kind of banging their hand on the table. Now is the time. Now is the time to bring that out. So let's look at the astrological influences happening, because there are some big ones. Aren't they always? It's interesting. This has been some action-packed months and time. So coming up, so on May 1st, just Monday, 2 days ago, Pluto stationed retrograde at 0 degrees Aquarius. And remember, 29 and 0, these two, the anaretic degree and the beginning degree, are the most powerful. It's when the planets, when you really feel the intensity of their influence, their power, and you can see this. We can see it on the world stage. On Friday, it's a full moon. It's known as the flower moon. It's going to be at 14 degrees Scorpio. And it's also then an annular lunar eclipse. So we've got a full moon on 5/5. These fives, changes, transformation, transition, changes. It's a lunar eclipse. So solar eclipses bring things in. Lunar eclipses move things out. So again, you may see that you're moving, or you've decided to change jobs, careers, cities, locations, a friendship goes, type things like this, but things that no longer serve, things that will eclipse out to make room and space for greater expansion, transition, evolution. So this is happening on Friday. So be really mindful. It's Scorpio. It's in the sign of Scorpio. And so there's both, it's recognizing the nature of these things. So remember that Scorpio has, its nature is to, quote unquote, to sting, but it doesn't mean that sting is negative or bad. It's not meant to be negative or bad. It's simply a fact of its nature. So look at anything that happens, friendships, changes in life, locations, things of this nature. Know that it is for your highest and best. It is a flower moon. It is a full flower moon. So the flowering, the budding, the blossoming, the growing. And then, of course, we have from April 21st until the 14th, when it stations forward, Mercury in retrograde. So this whole influence right now coming up, there's some intense energies, and yet, I don't know about you all, but they feel auspicious when I think about it intuitively in the moment. They feel auspicious, even though they're stretching us. It's like a taffy, the pulling of the taffy, or if you work with dough, if you're a baker, if you ever bake, you're kneading and working with dough, and there's an intuition. There's a knowing about how long or how assertive or aggressive you can be with the dough before you extinguish its life force. It's the same. There's an intuition about how far you pull and stretch the taffy so as to not break the link. And then it brings it back together and reshapes it and stretches it again and brings it back. These are the analogies. And so recognize and realize that this is part of this renewal through reinvention, because we are being repurposed, revitalized, reinvented. And that means we've got to change our thinking. We've got to expand ourselves to make space and room for it. I want to bring in a moment here. I'm going to do this for a second and talk to you about hexagram 49. I'm going to bring this up because there's a beautiful quote here we're going to start with. And it says, unhappiness is the first sign that something powerful stirs within you. And you can see this beautiful image of the purple and everything, and it's just this lightning strike. And so again, the lightning in the tarot, it's the Tower card. It's card 16, I believe. And yes, it's 16. And unhappiness. So we often think about unhappiness as something not great, negative. And yet what it's talking about here is unhappiness is the first sign that something powerful stirs within you. And that something powerful is change. You're looking for the new. You're looking for the advancement. You're looking for the release. That revolution, that completion and beginning. And so that is where hexagram 49, molting, to shed, the molting / revolution, and its action is transform. Its hidden influence is 44, coming to meet, encounter. And so again, here we're coming to meet. Remember, the unseen, the divine mother, the force, the pure force of the divine mother, of the divine feminine. This unity consciousness, this nourishment while waiting, this nourishing aspect of ourselves. We're coming in, we're coming to meet, we're coming to encounter it together at the same time. And then its underlining cause, which is amazing, is 4, it's last month's energy, 4, youthful folly, try again. Because what it's saying to us, again, that 29th degree, that 0 degree, that energetic degree, that degree of faith, try again. Do not give up. It's a degree of faith. And you will get there. And the revolutionary process assures it, because it's going to advance us. As Lauren is saying, it's going to release. And Ava is saying, thank you. This is so encouraging. It is in Florida. Mount Shasta is a special area. It is indeed a special area. It holds, and it is the divine feminine. Mount Shasta represents the base chakra. So in essence, everything that comes in from the unseen for planetary Earth, Mother Gaia, comes into Mount Shasta as the base chakra. So it's rooted. It's where this all comes in, and what does it do? It buds, it flowers. It's where it's seeded. It's where that force and that and they're saying to me that entitlement in the most pure way, the entitlement of what's on offer, on what's being restored, on what's being given. That's what originates here, because it's receptive. It's a receptive location and portal and chakra point. It's the base chakra point. So, and let me just jump to the second quote before we jump in here. It says, "A mind once stretched by a new idea never regains its original dimension." It's an Oliver Wendell Holmes quote. So powerful. A mind once stretched by a new idea never regains its original dimension. It's like, I often say, with enlightenment and consciousness, once the bell's been rung, you can't unring the bell. This is a very similar quote. Once the mind is stretched by a new idea, it never regains its original dimension, because you've been enlightened. You've been expanded beyond it. You've moved beyond the self-imposed limitations of what you think is possible. And each time I was at a location prior to this, and it was like going from the promised land to the wasteland. And I was like, really? Is this what we have on offer? Is this what? And what I said to myself was, in this moment, Dearjames, stretch yourself. Stretch yourself. There's always something purposeful. There's always something on offer. And what I found at the end of that 4 days was that I had done just that. I had expanded. I had stretched myself beyond my human comfort zone to receive something, to challenge myself. And that is what we're talking about here, because this revolution doesn't happen. I mean, think about the French and American revolutions. Any form of revolution, whether it's a completion around an orbit, a time period, a cycle, or whether it's a revolution in terms of the kind of the French and American of society and so forth, that doesn't happen if we stay in place, if we just stand in place, or if there's no unhappiness, because the unhappiness is stirring the desire for the new, for the advancement, for that cycle to regenerate. So, and molting, revolution is known as co in the I Ching, and it says co describes a situation that has come to a point where a revolution in thinking or action, and I would say or being, has become necessary. where a revolution in being has become necessary. The joyful lake has a fire burning beneath it, which brings the situation to a boiling point, and it transforms in the same way water can be vaporized. At the same time, Ko is the image of how animals and reptiles shed their skin in cycles. There may be nothing familiar left about the situation after it goes through revolution. The underlying cause of youthful folly showed a situation where repeated attempts can transform it. However, Ko suggests that sustained effort will be futile because a complete transformation is necessary. So see, here we're saying this. They're trying. The divine masculine, that patriarchal force, is trying to maintain. It's trying, but it's futile. It's futile because that era, the beauty of that era and all that it afforded, along with its shadow, its underbelly side, has completed itself. It's completed its revolution. Because remember, it advanced from the one prior. It was the advancement of the age prior. Well, now it's the divine feminine. It's the matriarchal divine feminine. It's her turn. And it's her turn to bring in this unity, this balance, this harmony, this purification, this nourishment, this renewal, this revitalization, this repurposing. I mean, imagine a repurposed human. I mean, we do it, we can think about it with buildings or locations or structures or, oh, this used to be this, and look how they've transformed it. They've revitalized it into this. I had that same experience. It's Paul Lille in France. It's in the south of France. And it's Alfred Nobel's original dynamite factory. And so literally it was a mill town, a dynamite, a factory town, a company town. And all these years later, they have repurposed it into the most beautiful park, museum, educational offering. And what's amazing about it is that it, with great power comes great responsibility. In their actual museum portion, they tell the story. And for all of you that may not know, Alfred Nobel, he patented nitroglycerin. He then created dynamite from it with the intention for advancement, with the intention of part of the Industrial Revolution, this advancing humankind, and how we can build roads and bridges and blast through things that were perceived to be unpassable, not available to us. The problem with it was that same product, that same creation, was utilized from a shadow perspective, maiming and killing humans. It was used in warfare. And at the point that Alfred Nobel's brother passed, the press mistook him, his brother, for Alfred Nobel. So they mistook Alfred Nobel's brother for Alfred Nobel. And they referred to him as the Merchant of Death in the write-ups about his obituary and so forth. And he was so plagued, so aggrieved by the fact that he had created something that was then used in a shadow way to harm, that he went about and created the Nobel Peace Prize. Well, this is the same thing. So imagine a repurposed, a revitalized you. So that, because in essence, we all, every moment of every day, we have the opportunity and the choice to revolutionize ourselves, to renew ourselves through reinvention, to repurpose ourselves, to look at whatever stage you are in life, to look at where you are and say, if I like what I see, this is great. How might I expand upon it? How might I go about improving it, offering it in a new and different way that makes it even greater and better. And for those things or those aspects that I don't like, what changes, what molting, what shedding might I do? What stories and labels and identities and masks and so forth might I lay down in the purest way, with great reverence, because they served a purpose. It's not about throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It's not about killing and demonizing the shadow and the ego. We need a healthy mind, ego, personality in unity with soul, spirit, the unseen, soul source connection, so as to reimagine human. Reimagine, what does it mean to have heaven on earth? And how might we go about, we the individual, the I and the we, as they always say, there's no I in we. Although in French there is. However, the point is, how might you reimagine? How might you revolutionize? And how might you repurpose your human? And think of your human as your outside, like your the vehicle. Because the soul is the operating system. The soul is the operator. The soul source connection is the host. The human, ego, mind, personality, the human, the physical being, is the guest. So how might the guest repurpose itself to be in alignment with the host, so as to put forth such beauty, Maya, abundance, fertility, blossoming, growth, molting, how might that happen? So this is where all of that plays. So it talks about, because it says again, Coe suggests that sustained effort will be futile because a complete transformation is necessary. The hidden influence of coming to meet can embody the fear that accompanies the change because the new path is unfamiliar. This is where we are walking the unknown. This is why the divine masculine is terrified, because it's unknown. They're afraid of that element of themselves that is the feminine. And it doesn't matter, gender, masculine, feminine, somewhere in between on the spectrum, it doesn't matter. The point is that there's a fear about the other, and then there's an even greater fear because for 2,000 plus years, we've known, we can look back at the history and we can see, and so we know this beast, we know this, and I don't mean that in a negative, I'm just identifying, we know this period of time, this energy, this force, this experience, the divine masculine, the patriarchal Piscean rule. And so they fear, and yet there's a whole other sect that says, oh my gosh, I'm so excited, let's go, let's go, let's go. Because they also, while it's unknown, they're embracing it, they're open to it, they're embodying it, they're welcoming it, they're ready for it. And so here's this juxtaposition of the two, the one that's letting go, that's in fear of letting go. And there's fear in the unknown of the new, but there's an embodiment of it. There's an excitement to get to it because you're looking to usher it in. And so they talk about here, it says, coming to meet is influencing it. Molting or the changing of the skin or hide can show that you may have conformed to a situation that did not tap who you really are. See this conformity, this fitting in, masks, labels, stories, identities, truths that we tell ourselves so that we fit in. However, as you open to the transformation, you can make your debut into authenticity. Whatever worked in the past will no longer do, and you must open yourself to deep and powerful change. Unhappiness is usually viewed as a negative feeling, but it is the heart sending messages about the need for change. Therefore, even while the previous type of joy evaporates like rain, it will return. There can be excited energy generated once you make the commitment to change. In life, we don't always know what we want until we discover what we don't want. And that's very true. Look at how, as we advanced quite far. And then in the last, let's say 6-7 years, 8 years, 6-7 years, we slid back. It's like this, like it appears as though we're retrograding, we're sliding back. And yet, that rehashing, that revisiting, that re-looking at all of this shadow underbelly stuff is showing us what we don't want. We don't always know what we want until we know and discover what we don't want. And so many of us are saying, we don't want that. Been there, done that. We don't want that. We're marching forward. We want and are open to what's new. What's going to come in and usher in this new human, this new heaven on earth, this new me, where the seeds that I planted, that my soul planted so long ago, come to flower, come to bloom, flower moon, that they come to life. Co is a hexagram purely focused on truth, authenticity, and the discovery of real fulfillment. See, it's live, not Memorex. It's original intelligence, not artificial intelligence. It's truth, authenticity, real. Period. End of story. Have a nice day. It's not manufactured. Because you can't. The soul, you can't manufacture the soul. The soul is pure divinity. It's pure source energy. There's no replica for it, which means there's no replica of you. There's one of you. What did your soul say it would do? What did your soul say it came to experience and achieve? And really, what did your soul say? Because that may be the old operating system, the old. And then here's the new, right? So everything that's led up to this point is what they were just saying, what I just articulated. And then they're saying, okay, now in this moment, this May moment, looking forward, and everything's been building to it. What did your soul say it would receive? What's your soul's inheritance for all of this climbing, challenge, struggle? And yes, buried in there's all the golden opportunity is the ideal. For all of these works, now turn and pivot and say, what did my soul say it would receive? What are its gifts, its blessings, its renewal? See, we don't think about that, do we? Because we're constantly focused on climbing the mountain, on the ideal, on reaching the ideal. Does it ever occur? Put in the comments. Does it ever occur to us? Does it ever occur to you that there's an actual reward, that there's an actual blessing, that there's an actual gift, and it's already yours because your soul claimed it, brought it in, realized it before it ever came? It's quite a magical time. It's quite a magical time. So let's finish off here. There's some more they said the first thing was, again, everything. Rethink, repurpose, repropose, reinvent, relook at, revitalize, reimagine. Put an RE in front of it and be with it. Be with it. Not so much think it, because you can think something to death. We can monkey mind it and think it. Be it. Feel it. so as to see, is that something like with this eclipse coming up, this beautiful full flower moon, lunar eclipse, annular lunar eclipse, is it something I need to release, let go of? There's a beautiful Sheila Haidt, the astrologer. I do this, she does this. Write down things on a piece of paper, take them out either somewhere safe or over the sink or with water in it or something. You write down these things that you would like to release. Take a pair of tweezers or tongs or something, light it, let it burn, and then down the garbage disposal, the toilet, something, just no setting fires to anything, but you get the idea. It's a release of anything. So you're writing at this moment to allow this annular lunar eclipse to wash away, take away this fire and water, this releasing of these lack items, shadow items, underbelly items that you want to release so as to make space. The second thing they said was, it's from Annie. They said the sun will come out tomorrow. It's the song by Alicia Morton from Annie, the play Annie, the musical. And there was something about the sun, S-U-N and S-O-N. The sun will come out tomorrow. And so remember, from a standpoint with Master Jesus, representing the connection between the Father, so the guest and the host, the Father and the Son, the love, the love of divinity, from source. This beautiful, and that the sun, the radiance of the sun will come out. It will shine through. It will illuminate. Third thing they said, powerful change, rebirth, renewal, growth. And so this month of May, this 5, there's an energy, there's a power, a force, an energy, a powerful change of forward movement that is ushering in, they're saying to me, that's ushering in conscious awareness. Meaning, you may just have flashes of instantaneous conscious awareness, knowings, epiphanies, like expansion, where, remember, the mind, here's this beautiful quote, a mind once stretched by a new idea never regains its original dimension. So that's this type of powerful change, force, this expansion, this illumination, this kind of change that just ding, and you're like, oh, because again, we're repurposing, vitalizing, looking at yada, yada, yada. So it can literally be like this epiphany moment, and you know exactly what to do, or you hadn't seen it before. It didn't come into your conscious awareness. But in this month, especially moving forward, these epiphanies of conscious awareness, these expansions on tap. Then comes, they said, number 4, and it's foundational. And they said, oh, how the heavens hath parted, ... for you, ! And then I saw and heard King Midas, everything you touch turns to gold, ... again. So in your individual lives, in the way you see, speak, think, interact, respond, don't react, especially coming this week and this weekend, and because we're finishing up, this is the bookend of the first set of eclipses, and it is the last on the Taurus-Scorpio axis. We moved forward, and it'll be on the Aquarius, not Aquarius, Leo. It's on the Libra something, I'll tell you. I'm drawing a blank on the other axis. I know it's Libra, and I forget what's across from it. But they're saying to us, foundational, 4, oh, how the heavens hath parted for you. So the parting of the Red Sea. This is talking about, oh, how the heavens hath parted for you. King Midas, everything you touch turns to gold again. Prosperity, abundance, liberation, gold. And it comes with King Midas. Okay, remember, King Midas so adored gold, was so fascinated and caught up with it, one could say narcissistic about it, that what he touched turned to gold because he was not in harmony and balance. He was imbalanced, and thus the result of that action was that everything he loved and adored, and remember, he reached out for his daughter and touched her, and she turned to gold. So while this gold, everything you touch turns to gold and it returns, with great power comes great responsibility. With great opportunity comes great responsibility. It is that 7 legions and correct discipline. Do so correctly. Do no harm. Do it so that you are in harmony and unity and balance in that matriarchal, divine feminine, nourishing state. Number 5, they said, time to spring into action. And literally, as I was writing that, the cap on the pen flew off. And they said, time to spring into action. Blow the lid off of this and then insert what, and sometimes we say you're going to blow the lid off this town or this place or this moment or whatever. So blow the lid off of something. And again, in a proper, good way, in an excitable, enthusiastic, rejuvenation, revolution, renewal way. It's about blowing the lid off something. It's about, because it's not like we're, meek and mild and we go over and we take the lid off and peek inside. No. They're saying, time to spring into action, blow the lid off this, whatever. So it does mean leaps of faith. It can be quantum leaps of faith, trust, nourished while waiting, patience, but it's actionary. It is actionary. And it's doing it in a way with an embodiment of force, proper force. Proper force. It's not running roughshod over people. It's not reacting. It's not reactionary. It's proactive. It's responding. It's this type of force. And you do it with great ease, great deliberance. But you just move. It's like, boom, do it. Because you'll know to do it. And last but not least, they said number 6 was spirit and service. So as you revolutionize your human, as you renew through reinvention, as you revisit, as all of this sinks in and you embody, you feel this new energy and you look to see, because it really is about, it's like tending to a garden. You can look in the weeds, weeds come, things, they go into hibernation. Tulips, bulbs, these things, they molt, they die, so to speak. And then you go out in spring and you prepare the garden and you put nutrients in and you weed it and you prune and you water. And if you're me, you speak to Mother Earth and the soil. You don't call it dirt, you call it soil. And you talk to the plants and you talk to the wind. And while this may sound crazy, what you're really doing is opening yourself to the magic of renewal, rebirth, revitalization, repurposing. And just because, and again, because nothing's ever the same, nothing's ever identical. So the next revolution around the annular season, we're using the analogy of planting and gardening. What might those blooms, those plantings bring forth? You're the same thing. We've made another revolution. We're going back to where we began, but an octave higher. And so in this moment, what might you reveal? What gifts did your soul claim because they're already there. Now it's just you spring forth into action, blow the lid off this old, molt away the old, burn away the old, flush away the old. You get the idea. And what might spring forth from your being in this moment, this very powerful month of transition. So thank you all so much for joining, for your comments and your contributions and everything. I am thrilled to be here in Mount Shasta for the moment that I am here. I will see where I am next week, but we will see you next week and continue on in this journey. And in the meantime, be really, really, really patient, loving, and kind with yourself, and inspired by your own revolution, your renewal through reinvention. Love you all so much. We'll see you next week.